Hey guys, this is Divyansh and welcome to the United Talk. First of all, wishing all of you a very happy new year. Hope you all had a good one. I also had a great one, and that's why I still look like I'm a little hungover from New Year's Day. But to be honest, even Manchester United look like they're a little hungover from New Year's Day because their performances on the field against Arsenal, if they lost 2-0 at the Emirates Stadium, was just dreadful. It was awful to watch Manchester United, and that's why I say, as a Manchester United fan, my new year was just spoiled by this Manchester United performance. And let me just come out and say one thing before I say anything else. We lost to Arsenal because Arsenal is not a top 6 side. We lost to Arsenal because Arsenal was not even in the top 10 in the first half of the table when the game began. We lost to Arsenal because Arsenal was 12th in the table, and we have a habit, we have a practice of losing teams who are not that great in the Premier League, who are below us in the Premier League. And this is 100% a dig aimed at the Arsenal fans. But jokes aside, guys, this was a terrible Manchester United performance. And I want to talk about 6 things today in this video. The first thing, Jesse Lingard. And I fail to understand, why did Jesse Lingard start this game? Stats show that in the Premier League itself, Jesse Lingard has not scored a single goal since last December. 2018 December. So in 1 year, Jesse Lingard has not scored a single goal in the Premier League, and he has, I think, 1 assist to his name. These stats themselves show that Jesse Lingard should not be starting any game, number 1. Number 2, in the past few months, Jesse Lingard, apart from that Manchester City game, he has done nothing to merit a spot in the starting lineup. So why did he start? I just fail to understand, and I'm not a fan of Andres Pereira. You all know that. I don't really like Andres Pereira, and I think he's only as good as a squad player for Manchester United. But at least Andres Pereira was having a good spell right now because he played well against Burnley the other day, and he gave that assist to Martial. And Solskjaer in his pre-match conference said that Lingard gives us that energy, and while that's true, this does give us an energy, he doesn't do that anymore. He's 27. And he's supposed to be on his peak of his career right now. And he's nowhere near that. I think he's just going downhill. Andres Pereira, whatever you talk about him, whatever you say about him, he provides the same kind of energy as Jesse Lingard. And he had more confidence going into this game because of his performance in the last game. I did not understand why he did not start and why Jesse Lingard started. And he's a big problem for us. I think we need to sell Jesse Lingard. He needs to move on, period. Number 2. Luke Shaw. And I mentioned about Luke Shaw in my last video as well, that this is the guy who's a shadow of the player we saw when he made his move from Southampton to Manchester United. Because I don't know, it's his injury, it's Jose Mourinho, I don't know what's the problem with Luke Shaw, but he isn't just cut out for Manchester United for a starting place in Manchester United right now. For the first goal, I know it's difficult to blame Luke Shaw for that goal, but the Nicolas Pepe goal, it was essentially Luke Shaw's man to actually handle and target, and he completely missed that. And throughout the game, throughout the match, the fullbacks of Arsenal were actually bombing forward, and Luke Shaw and Wan-Bissaka were having a troublesome time handling those fullbacks of Arsenal. And while Wan-Bissaka had a decent game, he had an okay game, and we know all his problems about when he goes to attack, he's not able to attack. Luke Shaw had a poor game. He was awful, and I still feel that Brendan Williams should be given more time in the starting lineup than Luke Shaw, especially till the time Luke Shaw does not regain the confidence back and he doesn't start playing the way he should be and he can. Brendan Williams will make a few errors here and there, but he's a kid, he's learning, and he has everything that takes to be a starter for Manchester United, especially at that left back position. The third point, Nemanja Matic. He had a very good game in the second half. I think he had a good game in the second half. In the first half, he was very slow, he was very average, he was poor, and while overall I don't think he had a bad game. Like I said, I think he had a good game overall. It's simply because in the second half, Arsenal sat a little bit. So he was able to do a few things well. Nemanja Matic, whatever he tried to do, he was able to do. But the problem is he's very slow now. And his legs are gone. He's 31 now, turning 32 now. And his legs are gone. He's not meant to be played in such games against high flying opposition like Arsenal, who have the capability to actually, the front line to actually run at defenders at willy-nilly, to be honest. And I know he wouldn't have started with McTominay, was not injured, it would have been McTominay and Fred with someone else at that number 10 position. But all this says about Manchester United is that the need to strengthen the squad in the winter transfer window, because if McTominay is out for 8 weeks or 6 weeks or whatever, you can't continue to play with Nemanja Matic in that holding midfield role. And Andres Pereira has not worked out over there. Jimmy Garner is too young to start week in, week out. And while he has not got any opportunities in December, as far as I remember, I think Jimmy Garner should be starting a few games, or should be at least coming on in a few games. But he's not got an opportunity. He's anyway too young to start week in, week out, especially against Arsenal, City, Liverpool, who are coming up next. So we need to strengthen our squad in the winter transfer window. The fourth thing that I want to talk about today is corners. And throughout the season, we've seen that Manchester United have had a very difficult time dealing with the corners that opposition puts in our box. For that matter, we have had a hard time even dealing with the set pieces, the free kicks in and around the box that come into the box, and we have to head them away. We have to head them clear, because somehow the coaching staff is not able to train the players to actually defend those corners properly. And I don't even have a count how many goals have we conceded through these corners, and it just doesn't seem to improve. Time and time again, I've come out and said that while Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is, I think, the right choice for the long term, he has to learn from his mistakes. And this tells me that these corners, whether it's Solskjaer on the ground, whether it's players on the ground, I have no idea. But this is not working. We are too susceptible from corners, from set piece, and this needs to change. And I thought it will change since we have Harry Maguire now. But he was awful. He was awful along with Victor Lindelof. I think if I have to come out right now and tell you who was my man of the match, I don't know who to point out at. Maybe an Anthony Martial, because he ran his heart out throughout the night and he tried his best. But that's about it. Fifth thing that I want to talk about is Mason Greenwood. And trust me, I love this kid. I love this kid, and I don't have any problem with this kid. My problem is, first of all, when you see that things are not working for you, when you see you're 1-0 down and Arsenal is dominating possession in the first half, you see that the wing backs are flying forward for Arsenal and we have no answer for them. We have no answer. We have no way to actually go and create our own attack. That moment of time, and I saw Lampard do this last weekend when Chelsea played against Arsenal. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer actually waited till half time to make a substitution, and not even half time. I was shocked to see Jesse Lingard come out and start the second half as well. It was till the 55th minute. Now people are going to come out and say that, oh, 55th minute is too early for a substitution, so he was right over there. But no, change it. It's not working for you. You're 1-0 down, because till the time United went into the half time, they were already 2-0 down and the game was almost over. I'm sure none of us expected United to come back from that 2-0 deficit. It happened once against Sheffield United, but it doesn't happen every week, right? So that's my main problem. And the point that I was trying to make earlier with Mason Greenwood is the fact that that kid, he has shown us how big a player he will become in the future and how big a talent he is. But apart from Mason Greenwood, who else do you have on the bench who can come on and impact the game? For the front three, James, Martial, Rashford, you have one substitute who can come out and impact the game. That's Mason Greenwood. For the midfield that we have right now, we have no substitutes who can come on and impact the game. I'm sorry, Andres Pereira is not an impact substitution. Neither is Juan Mata anymore. So who's the player who's sitting on the bench right now at Manchester United, who's going to come out, change the way we are playing if we are not playing well in the game, and impact the game positively? Because let's not even talk about Paul Pogba anymore, because what's going on in the background is I have no idea. Now suddenly he's injured again, and after playing for 2 games he was rested for a game and he's again injured, and now he needs surgery on his toe. Yeah, well, if he had to get this surgery done, he should have done it in August, September, when he actually sustained the injury. So now he'll be out for another 4 or 5 weeks, so we won't see Pogba in January. And the bottom line is, we need to invest in January. We need to invest in January. My last point in today's video is that Manchester United are very good when they play against the top 6 sides, simply because, and we all know this, simply because they are very good at counter-attacking. And trust me, counter-attacking is not very difficult to coach to a team, because essentially what is it? Sit back, sit tight, defend, be compact, and then try and hit them on the counter-attack. Long ball over the top, run in behind the defender, score a goal. That's counter-attacking football. And I understand it's not easy as the way I'm explaining it to you, but It's not very difficult. It's the first thing that you can learn as a professional footballer, first thing that you can coach as a professional football coach. And while we have been successful using this tactic, especially against the big sides, I think, and this is my gut feeling, I think the game against Manchester City next week, they're going to lose that game. Simply because Manchester City and Pep Guardiola are not going to repeat the same mistakes that they did against United in December when we played against them at the Etihad in the Premier League. Teams have realized that if they play the game properly, if they press United properly, and if they somehow cut that threat of counter-attacking football that Manchester United possesses, then we don't have a plan B. We don't have another strategy. We don't have any way else that we can go and harm these teams. And I'm actually waiting for that Manchester City game to come along, because we might probably win against Wolves on the weekend in the FA Cup, simply because we have to get a result. We might still win it. I don't know how strong a team will Wolves put out. I'm assuming pretty strong, and it's away from home, so don't be surprised if we lose that game as well and we're out of the cup. But the game against Manchester City, the semi-final, over the 2 legs, you're telling me that over 2 legs, Manchester City will not have a solution to the Manchester United's counter-attacking prowess that we have, the strength that we have. I find it hard to believe, because we have to, because we have this limited core of players that will play in that game. You know it, I know it, who's going to start in midfield. It's either going to be Andres Pereira or Jesse Lingard. It's going to be those front 3, maybe Mason Greenwood starts one of those games, and that's about it. There are no changes, there are no people like how Manchester City has the squad. You don't know whether it's going to be Bernardo Silva, David Silva, Riyad Mahrez, Raheem Sterling, Aguero, Jesus, De Bruyne, Gundogan. Oh my, they have so many players who can come on and impact the game. We don't have that. And I feel over the 2 legs, City are a much better team, and they will prove that in the semi-final. What all this means, what I've said already 2 times in this video, is that the need to strengthen the squad in the January transfer window is the highest now, especially because of the injuries to Paul Pogba and Scott McTominay, and how big a miss was Scott McTominay in today's game. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer needs to improve. He needs to learn. He needs to learn from the mistakes. He needs to make sure that he has a plan B or a plan C in place in games, and he has to be brave enough. He has to have the balls to actually make a change in the 30th minute and not wait till the 55th or the 60th minute if things are not working out for you. And the last 2 games we scored goals because of the opposition's errors. Yes, we pressed them highly, we pressed them well, but they were not top quality opposition. Wolves, Manchester City, Liverpool, Manchester City again away from home. They are top quality sides. They are not going to afford us that kind of space, and they are not going to commit same mistakes that they've done before against us, and they are not going to give us chances to score. So they're going to be sitting tight. They're going to be defending. They're going to be attacking as well. They're going to be putting high energy on the ball. And at that moment of time, what will Ole Gunnar Solskjaer do? What will this Manchester United side do? It's the beginning of the decade. It's the beginning of a new year. You cannot look hungover on the field the way I'm looking right now, the way Manchester United looked against Arsenal. It cannot just happen. Let's see what happens. Again, wishing all of you a very happy new year. All of you take care. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. If you like the video, hit that like button. Tell me what do you think about the game, what do you think about United's strategy should be in the window transfer window in the comment section below, and take care.